What are the brain mechanisms of free will? Free will can be something like deciding to smell your favorite rose or to watch the sunset. Or perhaps you're thirsty. Maybe your mouth is dry. Maybe you're in a terribly hot desert. Maybe you find a well in the desert. What exactly happens in your brain when you decide to reach for that drink of water? How does your brain come to decisions at all? Scientists in Switzerland are probing the brain mechanisms of free will, and they've discovered something astonishing. In past research, they noticed that notions of the self, who you are, and of being conscious are anchored in brain signals that come from the body. For example, even though you're unaware of it, your heartbeat helps you to know that your body is your own body, and that the screen in front of you is not. An act of free will is a component of self-consciousness, so the scientists hypothesized that free will may be anchored in the body as well. What they discovered is that voluntary action is actually anchored in the lungs. Central to these results is the readiness potential, a signal of brain activity that appears just before muscle movement. In the experiment, the subject is asked to press a button at will. Brain activity begins to rise. This rising is the readiness potential. The subject then presses the button. The readiness potential precedes being aware of the urge to act, leaving many to wonder if we have free will at all. In the study, subjects became aware of the urge to act as they exhaled, and were more likely to press the button at the end of an exploration. These results suggest that the origin of the readiness potential is linked to breathing. The regular cycle of breathing and related brain processes are part of the mechanism that leads to conscious decision-making and acts of free will. For now, this latest EPFL research improves predictions of when you will do something by observing your breathing patterns, but not what you decide to do. The findings back the view that cognition is embodied, that who we are is intimately anchored in the body, and that consciousness arises from the brain, including brain processing of bodily signals such as breathing. From the perspective of embodied cognition, consciousness disappears when we die. So in Antoine de St-Exupéry's story about the Little Prince, this means that the boy's consciousness ceases to exist after his final meeting with the snake. There's no way to dissociate his consciousness from his so-called shell for speedy reunification with his rose. That being said, embodied cognition is just one aspect of the vast debate on consciousness and existence.